The next 2 weeks on Days of Our Lives do not simply escalate. They detonate. Every storyline, every family, every secret, collides at once. A DiMera disappearance turns into a full-scale mystery. A young girl's mental health crisis spirals into something far more dangerous. A seductive trap is set in the shadows of the mansion. And a stalker, the kind who disappears and reappears only when you least expect, makes his chilling move. This is not just another 2-week preview. This is Salem entering a psychological war zone. Today, we break down every twist, every danger, and every shocking connection that ties them together. Let's begin. The first week of December begins with a scene that feels deceptively calm. Theo Carver and E.J. DiMera sitting across from each other, locked in a private strategy session. On the surface, it resembles a typical DiMera Enterprises meeting: numbers, projections, corporate threats, and whispers of a hostile takeover brewing somewhere in the market. E.J. appears composed, sharp, in control, the way a DiMera always pretends to be. But this isn't a business crisis. This is a family crisis. Because the list of missing DiMeras isn't just growing, it's accelerating. Tony, Kristen, and now, Chad. 1 disappearance might be unfortunate. 2 might raise eyebrows. But 3? E.J. knows Salem far too well to believe in coincidences. And yet, he can't show panic. A DiMera never shows fear. Theo, surprisingly, becomes the quiet anchor at the table. He listens carefully, analyzes patterns E.J. overlooks, and cuts through emotional noise with startling clarity. Unlike many in E.J.'s orbit, Theo doesn't come with motives or ego. He brings logic, perspective, truth, and E.J. needs that more than he'll ever admit. Together, they start connecting dots, timelines, unusual messages, unexplained gaps in security footage, and the eerie silence surrounding the DiMera estate. Something is hunting their family. Something calculated. But here's the most chilling part. Theo doesn't realize he's already on the enemy's radar. Within days, the very alliance he helped build will lead him straight into a trap. Their partnership begins as strategy. It will end with Theo becoming the next DiMera captive, and E.J. realizing far too late that the danger was already inside the walls. While E.J. and Theo search for answers above ground, a far darker truth unfolds beneath Salem. Chad DiMera awakens to the cold, suffocating reality of his new prison. The DiMera crypt, a place meant for the dead, not the living. The walls are stone. The air damp and heavy. The silence broken only by the faint breathing of Kristen and Tony, who were dragged here before him. There is no phone, no light, no sense of time, just the sickening realization that someone orchestrated this, and planned to keep them hidden. Chad doesn't know how many hours have passed. He doesn't know who took him. What he does know is that something extremely important is slipping away: his custody hearing. A hearing that could determine whether he keeps his children or loses them forever. Above ground, the misunderstanding snowballs. Jennifer believes Chad is dodging accountability, running from his responsibilities as a father. Jack tries to defend him, but even he struggles to justify the silence. The judge sees only absence, and absence, in family court, speaks louder than any argument. To the world, Chad looks irresponsible. Unreliable, possibly uncaring, but the audience knows the truth. Chad is trapped underground, fighting fear, fighting exhaustion, and fighting against the ticking clock that's destroying his case minute by minute. The emotional weight of this storyline is brutal, because when the truth finally reaches the surface, the damage may already be irreversible. A father's reputation, a custody decision, and the emotional trust of his children, all hanging in the balance while he's locked in a graveyard of DiMera secrets. While Chad battles captivity, Kat Green is waging her own war, one built on charm, manipulation, and the hope of controlling a narrative that's slipping through her fingers. Kat tracks down Jennifer Horton Devereaux and corners her with a carefully rehearsed proposition. She tries to sweeten it, presenting it as practical, fair, mutually beneficial. A strategic exchange, a chance for both sides to walk away with what they want. But Jennifer doesn't buy a single word. Jennifer sees through Kat with the clarity of a mother who has spent her entire life protecting her family from manipulators. And she doesn't hold back. Her voice rises, her anger sharpens, and the judgment lands like a slap. You're a predator. A woman who targets weakness. A woman who uses seduction, opportunity, and emotional chaos to gain control. A woman Jennifer refuses to let anywhere near her family's future. The confrontation leaves Kat momentarily shaken, her confidence cracked, her composure slipping. But Kat doesn't retreat. Instead, she pivots. She looks for another door into the DiMera world. And that door is EJ. Later, during a tense discussion in the DiMera mansion, Kat talks too fast. She tries too hard to connect. She reaches for a reference, Wuthering Heights, a story she claims resonates with EJ on some deep emotional level. Except EJ freezes. A memory flickers. A voice? Her voice? Reading that very book to him while he lay helpless in a coma in Italy. A memory he should not have. A memory she did not expect him to recall. The room changes, the atmosphere thickens, and Kat realizes, too late, that she's revealed something she never intended to. Because if EJ pulls the thread of this memory, if he begins to question why Kat was near him during that vulnerable time, if he digs into her involvement in Italy, then Kat's entire web, her lies, her motives, her connection to the DiMera disappearances, could collapse around her. This slip of the tongue might be the beginning of her downfall. Among all the chaos erupting across Salem, Rachel Black's storyline is the one that cuts the deepest, because it is not a villain plot, a corporate war, or a supernatural twist. This is a child, unraveling. Rachel is still carrying the unbearable weight of the night she shot EJ. A secret too heavy for any adult, let alone a young girl already shaped by trauma, parental conflict, and emotional instability. Brady, exhausted and shattered, reaches the breaking point no parent ever wants to face. He must leave his daughter at Bayview for inpatient treatment, knowing he can't protect her from herself. He stands at the doorway, listening as the lock clicks behind him. It feels final. It feels cruel. It feels necessary. This should be the moment Rachel begins to heal. But instead, it becomes the moment she becomes prey, because Bayview houses someone far more dangerous than Rachel herself. Sophia Choi, a girl who hides behind silence, behind innocent stares, behind a fabricated disability that convinces everyone around her she's harmless. But Sophia's communication disorder, a complete lie. Her timid gestures? Nothing but camouflage. Behind closed doors, Sophia is far more calculating, far more intelligent, and far more manipulative than anyone realizes. She sneaks into Rachel's room at night, slipping past staff with ease. She sits beside her bed, whispering softly like a friend. But planting seeds like a mastermind. She validates Rachel's guilt. She feeds Rachel's fear. She rewrites Rachel's memory of what happened, twisting it, reshaping it, weaponizing it. Rachel, longing for connection and desperate for someone who won't judge her, opens up in ways she never has before. Sophia becomes her confidant. Her guide, her moral compass, but one that always points toward darkness. Bayview should have saved Rachel. Instead, it hands her over to someone who knows exactly how to exploit her pain. And if Sophia's influence continues to grow, Rachel may walk out of Bayview not healed, but dangerous. While the DiMera family fractures and Rachel's crisis spirals, another storyline takes on the unmistakable energy of a psychological thriller. It all begins with a single decision, one Alex Kuriakis can't take back. Alex gives Steve Johnson the creepy fan letter Stephanie received. A letter covered in obsessive language, invasive details, and the unmistakable tone of someone who believes Stephanie belongs to them. But Stephanie told Alex to ignore it, to let it go. She insisted it was nothing more than a dramatic fan, annoying but harmless. Alex couldn't accept that. He needed to prove he could protect her. Or maybe, he needed to prove he knew better than her. So he went behind her back. When Stephanie finds out, it hits like a betrayal. Her trust fractures. Old wounds resurface. The tension between them, already simmering, snaps. But the tragedy is this: Stephanie was wrong. The letter wasn't harmless at all. Because when Stephanie heads to Chicago for her book tour, she notices something off, tiny things at first. A shadow in the hallway that moves when she looks up. A door that seems slightly ajar when she swears she closed it. A figure reflected in the elevator mirror for half a second too long. Someone is following her, and Days fans know exactly who it is: Owen Kent. Her former kidnapper. The man who once held her life in his hands, and who clearly believes he still does. Owen lurks outside her suite, staying just far enough away to avoid security cameras but close enough to watch her every move. He waits. He studies. He reminds her, in subtle, chilling ways, that she is never alone. He doesn't attack. He doesn't break in. Not yet. Because Owen isn't here to kidnap her again. He's here to reclaim her. This is merely the opening act of a storyline that will escalate into full-blown terror. As the calendar flips into the second week, December 8 to 12 delivers one blow after another. And it starts with something straight out of a crime thriller. A letter arrives at the Kuriaki's household, nothing unusual at first glance. But when Alex opens it, a cloud of mysterious white powder spills across the table. For a split second, everything is silent. Then panic erupts. Authorities flood the home. Hazmat suits, breathing masks, protective barriers. They isolate the room, quarantine Alex, and begin analyzing the substance. Is it toxic? Is it a biological threat? Or, perhaps the most chilling possibility, is it a message? A message from Stephanie's stalker. A warning. A promise of what's coming next. But while Salem is distracted by the bio scare, tragedy strikes in another corner of town. Theo Carver vanishes. He is dragged into the DeMera crypt, thrown into the same underground nightmare holding Chad, Kristen, and Tony. The shock of seeing him arrive, terrified, confused, confirms something terrifying. Someone is targeting DeMera's specifically. And they're getting bolder. As the captives explore their dark prison, they stumble upon something unexpected: human bones. Old, hidden, forgotten, and not placed there by accident. The crypt transforms from a holding cell into a crime scene, hinting at a buried DeMera secret someone is willing to kill to protect. Above ground, EJ wrestles with rising fear and confusion. His family is disappearing, his memories are resurfacing, and his grip on stability is slipping fast. He has no idea that Cat Green, charming, calculating, and desperate, is preparing to strike. And EJ will soon become her next target. Cat Green reaches a moment of terrifying clarity. She cannot negotiate her way out of danger. She cannot charm Jennifer. She cannot outrun EJ's resurfacing memories. So she chooses the most reckless, and most revealing, path. She decides to take control. Late at night in the DeMera mansion, she corners EJ during one of his moments of distraction. His mind is fractured by flashbacks, uncertainty, and the terrifying suspicion that he forgot something crucial during his coma in Italy. Kat sees her opening. She steps closer. Her voice softens. She apologizes, flatters, reassures, weaving a seductive emotional trap. EJ tries to pull back, but he's vulnerable, overwhelmed, unfocused, and searching for answers. Kat uses that moment, leaning in before he can react. Her lips meet his. A kiss, slow, confident, almost hypnotic. And that's the exact second she places the drug on his tongue. It happens so quickly EJ barely registers it until the dizziness kicks in. The room tilts. His vision blurs. Kat's face becomes a swirl of colors and shadows. But she doesn't help him. She watches him fall. Because this is not about seduction, this is about access. With EJ incapacitated, Kat has complete freedom inside the DeMera mansion. She moves fast, opening drawers, scanning documents, checking folders with medical symbols, Italian facility logos, and coded files related to the DiMera disappearances. Every secret she uncovers tells her one thing: EJ is closer to remembering the truth than she realized. But she's not alone. Someone has been tracking her movements. Someone who knows Kat's tricks better than she thinks. Rafe Hernandez. He steps in just as Kat crosses from desperate into criminal, not to save EJ, but to prevent Kat from torpedoing every active investigation linked to Rachel, to Italy, and to the missing DiMeras. Kat's mask slips. She lashes out, spiraling into panic as EJ begins to wake, confused but suspicious. The DiMera mansion is no longer just a home. It becomes a battlefield, one where memories, secrets, and betrayals collide. And Kat Green is running out of places to hide. Amid kidnappings, crypts, stalkers, and psychological warfare, Days adds a rare contrast, a fragile, unexpected love story. Brady Black and Sarah Horton didn't set out to find each other. They simply collided in a moment where both were breaking. Brady is drowning in guilt over Rachel, the guilt of a father who's losing control of the child he loves. Sarah is grieving the collapse of her life with Xander, a relationship she desperately wanted to trust but could no longer survive. They start small, conversations in hospital corridors, moments of shared silence, understanding looks when words feel too heavy. Slowly, gently, something begins to grow. Sarah becomes Brady's calm when the world collapses around him. Brady becomes Sarah's safe place, someone who doesn't lie, doesn't manipulate, doesn't twist the truth. It's not passion yet. It's not obsession. It's something rarer, mutual healing. But Salem loves chaos far more than it loves peace. And the storm is coming in the form of one man, Xander Cook. For now, his jealousy simmers quietly beneath forced smiles and shallow reassurances. But Xander is a man built on impulse, pride, and volatility. Watching Sarah find comfort in Brady, of all people, chips away at him piece by piece. This isn't just heartbreak. It feels like betrayal. And when Xander feels betrayed, he lashes out. This love triangle isn't about romance. It's about identity, insecurity, and the unraveling of a man who doesn't know how to lose gracefully. Before long, Sarah will be forced to choose. And Brady will find himself pulled into a personal war he never wanted. By the time December 12th arrives, Salem is no longer the same town we started with. Kat's lies are collapsing, exposing her connection to Italy and threatening to blow open a conspiracy no one saw coming. EJ's memories are returning in fragments, dangerous fragments, that point toward a horrifying truth. Theo and Chad are trapped in an underground nightmare, surrounded by bones that rewrite DiMera history. Stephanie's stalker is escalating from shadows to direct threats. Rachel is spiraling deeper under Sophia's manipulative influence at Bayview, and no one realizes how dangerous that connection truly is. And Brady and Sarah are drifting toward a love that could heal them, or ignite Xander's darkest impulses. These next 2 weeks don't just push the story forward, they transform it. Every character stands on the edge of a cliff, and one wrong move could change everything. Stay tuned, because Days of Our Lives is entering its most explosive chapter of the year, and the fallout will touch every family in Salem.